everyone, welcome back to On the Fly. Today we're taking a look at Day 4 of the World Junior Championships currently happening in Gothenburg, Sweden. So with that being said, today was yet another great day of hockey. And as we take a look at the scores from today's games, we're going to start off with Slovakia beating Norway 8-4. And in this game, it really was not a pretty game in any sense of the imagination. The score was close, I will admit, near the end. I turned the game off. I went to go watch the other Finland-Latvia game. But the reason why this game got so close is Slovakia started to play a little sloppy towards the end. And one of the main reasons for this was because they were up 8-2. And when you're up 8-2 against an inferior team, you're going to start, trying to score goals, doing whatever. Just not playing what Slovakia type hockey is. So that being said, it's not necessarily the most problematic of scores and results for Slovakia. That 8-4 differential will not have any impact on their overall tournament position. So it's really not too much of a problem for them. I don't think it's going to be something that's going to be affecting them that badly. Obviously, towards the end, you want to play well, especially as you lead into your essentially Group B final against the U.S., where whoever wins that's going to get the top spot, get to play the worst team in Group A, and we'll get to Group A in a little bit because it's quite the matchup. But with that being said, just as we look towards what Group B is, you want to try and get as high as you can. You don't want to be playing a team like a Sweden or a Finland or a Canada, because you've seen today, Sweden looks really good, Canada looks really good, and if you have to play one of those in the quarters, you're sort of putting yourself in a hole already. So with that being said, it is an interesting game for Slovakia today. Hopefully they can turn it around. I am a Slovakian fan outside of Canada. That's my second team in this tournament. Always has been, always will be, ever since Simone Lactasy was the goaltender. But with that being said, we'll move on to the second game of today with Finland beating Latvia 4-0. And in this game, Latvia still struggles to put pucks in the back of the net. They tried one. They did finally put one in the back of the net today, but unfortunately, you cannot go like this with your stick and bat it down. Can't do that. It's not a goal. 8 seconds left on the clock. That would have killed their streak of who knows how many games now. It seems to be a million since Latvia has scored a goal in this tournament. But overall, when we look at what they can do, they need to win tomorrow's game. And that's basically what it comes down to. We'll get to the what-if scenarios in a little bit. But at the same time, Finland today took care of business, won 4-0, made sure that they're into the quarterfinals. They are now clinched. And as we look towards what they will be doing, it's good for them. They needed this win today for Finland. Good turnaround game. They didn't play their best hockey. The first couple periods, or the first period, they dominated by far. Then second period got a little iffy, and then third period took a lot of bad penalties, and that's where they start to get into problems, especially as we look towards who they're going to be playing in the quarterfinals. You're looking, especially as a lower team, you won't be the top team anymore. You're going to be playing, a US, a Slovakia, a Czechia, whoever it might be for Finland is going to have a good power play, and if you don't find a way to stay out of the box, they're going to score on you. That's just how it works. That's what happens when you play good teams. They're going to put the puck in the back of the net when you make mistakes. So for Finland, staying out of the box will be key as they play those teams. But at the same time, they did have a really, really good game today. Just overall, especially the first period, they just dominate. If they can play like that against the other teams, I see no reason why they can't go far in this tournament. Then we got to let's call it a surprising game today between the US and the Czechs. And this was a 4-3 final for the US in a shootout. We've sort of mentioned it off the top in a couple of the other videos, sort of mentioning how the U.S. is really struggling to set the pace of play. They are the best team in this tournament still. I will stand by that. But their biggest problem, what we've seen so far, and we saw it all the way starting back to the Norway game, they're having trouble setting the pace. They're letting other teams dictate the pace of play. And when that happens, it's just a problem. And when you let other teams dictate the pace of play, you, speed yourself up. You try and play a game that's not yours too. And the biggest problem with it is you're not playing your game. You're a skilled team. Use your skill. Do something special with the puck. And right now they're playing just on their heels, and this is what happens. Teams that aren't as good as them are going to be able to beat them. And I said this right off the top in my Canada preview video when I first reacted to the lineup. I said this exactly. Canada is a team built on size to basically slow down the U.S., and the U.S. is looking like they're a team that can be slowed down by size. So overall, when you look at what Canada needs to do, or if any team really needs to do against the US, if you can slow them down, it's game over. And in my opinion, no team does that better than Slovakia. And we'll see if they can do that on New Year's Eve at 6 a.m. Be sure to be there. It's going to be a good game. So like we said, 4-3 is your final in a shootout for the US. And then we'll get to the game I really didn't want to talk about today. That's right, Sweden 2, Canada 0, none, whatever you want to call it. An unfortunate game for Canada. And to be honest, I mean, they didn't play their worst game. For the fans that are currently complaining about the refs, just don't. It's not the refs for this one. You need to eventually put a puck in the net. They just didn't do that. So the game today, it's not much to talk about, to be honest. Sweden played a good game. Canada played a pretty decent game. They just got beat. And when you get beat, you get beat. Unfortunately, that's just how it works. And Canada today got beat. Good goalie in net for Sweden. Just couldn't really find the back of the net for Canada. Had their looks, just couldn't bury, and Sweden buried, and that's basically your game. Not much to talk about here. Canada just lost. But with that being said, we will take a look now at some of the news. So Slovakia is going pedal to the metal. They need to win on New Year's Eve to secure the top spot in Group B. I did say they were my dark horses right off the top, and I still stand by that. They are a team to watch for at this tournament. They always are good. This year, they've seemed to turn it up a notch. They had a really good start against the Czechs, and they've sort of just been building on it as it goes. So we'll see if they can knock out the big bad U.S., carrying on their momentum from last year. I gotta say, I would not be surprised. Adam Gajan has looked really good. But we'll see. That's the great part of the World Juniors, is anything can happen. For Norway, had a really strong finish to the game. Obviously, when you're a team that isn't necessarily the most skilled, you want to be looking for little positives in your game. And today, they had a really positive ending to that game. Latvia scoreless curse continues. They've been struggling. They need to turn it around. And we'll get to the what-ifs in a little bit, but you'll see they need to start scoring goals. Finland, strong effort today, got the job done. That's all they need. They're moving on to the quarterfinals. Czechia was so close to making it to and beating the U.S. in regulation. They just missed it. And then, of course, the U.S. did win in the shootout. And so close in the shootout, too. I was cheering them on. I was really, really hoping the Czechs could pull it off. But unfortunately, they could not. And what brings us to the U.S., who is, staying alive, staying alive. Once again, sorry. I know I've been singing a lot lately. It's just what happens when you have the U.S. almost losing. It gets you excited. And then Canada lost 2 today, adversity. Not important. We don't like to talk about that. And then Sweden, Group A has been clinched now. Top spot for Sweden, the top spot in Group A now belongs to Sweden. That cannot be changed, which is really interesting, I gotta say. And I wasn't really expecting that at the start of this tournament. But nonetheless, they are here. They've done a pretty good job so far. We'll take a look at the Group A standings now, with Sweden in first place, as we sort of just mentioned. 3 wins, 9 points. Canada in second with 6 points. Germany in third place right now with 3 points. Finland in fourth place with 3 points. Latvia in that relegation spot with 0 points. Group B, Slovakia is in first place with 9. US in second with 8. Czechs in third place with 4. And then Switzerland and Norway both with 0 wins. We'll get to them in a little bit too. So we'll take a look at the games now just for tomorrow, and this is where it gets really important. We sort of touched on that relegation side. Switzerland and Norway, big game, because Switzerland will play the Czechs on the 31st. Likely the Czechs will win that game, which means that Switzerland is in a must-win game here against Norway. The loser of this game will be going to the relegation round. Remember, 1 game knockout this year, anything can happen, especially when you're playing a team that on the other side where it could be a Germany who's been red hot as well, and it could be Latvia who has struggled, but at the same time, that threat of Germany is really, really scary in this tournament. And Norway as well has looked pretty good. And Switzerland has had their moments, I have to say. They've had their moments, but the way Norway's been playing lately, setting the pace of play, they've been really fast. I've been really impressed with them, especially as a promotion team. I would not be surprised to see them turned around. Germany, Latvia at 1:30 p.m. And now we will take a look at what this game actually means. So it's at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is what this game will mean for Germany, Finland, and Latvia. So if Germany can win this game in overtime, if Germany can win this game, period, if Germany brings the game to either an overtime or a shootout, Latvia will be in the relegation round. If Latvia wins by 1 or 2 goals, Latvia will also be in the relegation spot. Because of the goal differential, it basically goes with group play, where it becomes points will come first. So if Germany wins, they're already ahead of Latvia. That doesn't matter. That's the 3-team tiebreaker. Head-to-head is the record. So basically, if two teams would have beat, if a team would have basically lost to 2 teams in that 3-team qualifier, they would have been out of that 3-team tiebreaker. Then it comes goal differential, and this is where it's going to become important. So essentially what we're looking at here is Germany right now can't really get ahead of Finland because Finland's at +3, Germany's at +1, and then Latvia's at -4. So if Latvia is going to win and get us into that 3-team tiebreaker, because they still need to win to get us into the 3-team tiebreaker, that's when it becomes interesting. Latvia, if they can win by 3 goals or more, and we mentioned it, Latvia's having a hard time scoring right now. If they can win by 3 goals or more, that's how Latvia gets back into the quarterfinals. Germany would be in the relegation round, but all these things can be avoided. If Finland were to beat or get any points against Sweden, so that'd be in overtime. If you make it to overtime, you get a point, or you get 2 points for either an overtime loss or an overtime win. Or if Finland beats Sweden in any capacity, it becomes a winner-take-all unless that game goes into overtime or a shootout. If that happens, then Germany would move on. Latvia will be in the relegation round. And lastly, if Germany scores any points against Canada, once again, that is if they make overtime or if they win, they move on to the quarters. Latvia would be in the relegation round. Overall, though, lots of fun. Be sure to come back tomorrow. We'll take a look at the Group B side because there may be yet another 3-team tiebreaker. We'll hit you with all the what-if scenarios. But with that being said, if you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. If you'd like to drop a like, if you realize you're subscribing, tell all your friends, leave a comment down below your thoughts on Day 4 of the World Junior Championship. Until next time, see you.